How we do, folks? I've got the lid on. It is really windy. Microphone cuts out wind noise. Bosh. This week, look what we've got to play with. The Zero SRS Electric Sports Tourer. Woohoo!
I've been a real bad boy on the town all night. Starting to calm down with the morning light. I'm down in the dirt. Oh yeah.
So, there it is, the 2020 Zero SRS. Now, this is their flagship motor in the range. Basically, as you can see, an electric sports tourer. Now, I'm only really going to get one ride on this, unfortunately. I got it yesterday. I think it's going back either tomorrow or Monday. But this is pretty much the only day I have available to ride. And as you can see, it's windy. It's already been raining this morning. But we're going to go out and see. I'm excited to try this because, as you know, I do like my electric bikes. So, I am going to head to Buell Water because I'm determined to get there. The last two rides that I've been out, I've been aiming to get over that way. I've never been able to. So, we're going to use a Kalimoto. Right, let me just zoom in. There's Buell Water. So I want to head, I think that is roughly where the car park is. Push and hold, set this destination. Bosh, it's done it. Planner, I don't want to go the really back country, I want the second option. That's the one I found is generally the best for the bikes. The second from the twistiest. The twisty one, that will send you down real back country little lanes. I want a little bit more of sort of normal roads, dare I say. So calculate. There's a little route from where I am here. My plan here, we're at Aylesford Solar Station, and I thought that would be a really good place to get some pictures of this with the banks of solar panels behind it. Yeah, you're not allowed in there, so this is as close as I could get. Loads of people asking me about these gloves. These are quite old now, these are 2 or 3 years old, but they're Nox Handroids. Yes, they are expensive. I think you're probably looking at 180, 200 quid for these gloves. But believe you me, these things are worth it. I have crashed a few times. These have survived. They've got sort of sliding plates all over them that stops your hands digging into the ground and impacting on the wrists. I've got some mates who've raced and they've worn these and they've pretty much broken everything else, but their wrists and hands seem to escape. Anyway, right, startup function. Make sure the kill switch is activated on or off, so it's not killed, whatever the one that is, same as your bike, alright? Don't have it at the cross, have it at the ignition. Turn the key. There's a little green light there, which flashes, and then once it goes solid, you're ready to rumble. On the display here, you can see, really nice LED display. We are in beast mode, because what is the point of having any other modes? You have state of charge, your projected range, the way that you're riding, showing you power readout, what mode you've got it in, your traction mode, I have that set in sport, and also a torque meter and your battery temperature readout outside temperature and time. There are loads of things which you can specify yourself. You can connect this via Bluetooth to your phone to the new Zero Next Gen app, and it allows you to completely customize the dash, everything that you want. I don't have time to do that and go through all of it, but Alec from English Electric Motor Company, he was showing me and telling me, and it's pretty damn impressive. You can pretty much customize that exactly how you like it. But anyway, today is going to be a first ride on the Zero SRS in beast mode, because there's no other reason for any other mode. So let's go. Now this thing weighs, I think it's 500 and something pounds, so it's 300 odd kilograms. Wow. It never gets old, that. Right, where were we? Yes, this is the first ride of the Zero SRS. I tell you what, it feels like it's going to be a really stiff ride, but it's not. I know that's a really weird to say, it's conflicting, but it's like the bike feels really solid. It feels as if it's a big lump of solid mass, but as soon as you start moving, it just seems to glide over anything. I suppose it must be the weight, really, because it's 500 odd pounds. It just sort of, like the big Harleys, it just plows its way through. But it handles lovely. I mean, that feels really nice. Doesn't feel wallopy. It feels like a sports bike. It feels like a sports bike, but with a much heavier, lower centre of gravity. And you know what? That's exactly what it is. But it feels good. Real good. The power of these things, the acceleration. This thing has 140 foot-pounds of torque, which I believe, if Google is to be believed, when you convert that to Newton meters, it's around about 189, 190 Newton meters of torque. Bear in mind that hooligan of a Super Duke, that new Gen 3 Super Duke that I've just had, I think that was 140, I think. And that thing felt like it was going to pull Jupiter off its axis. Jeez. You're welcome. I tell you what, it's handy actually, with these bikes being so quiet. You can, at junctions like that where we're almost blind, you can actually listen for traffic coming, as long as it's not another electric car. No matter how many times I ride these electric bikes, I'm still always going for the clutch, and I'm always getting ready to shift with my left foot. And whilst we talk about feet, off camera there, I was just coming through the town, don't bother with the rear brake. This bike basically has no rear brake. I didn't think I was pushing on it, but when I looked down, I was pretty firmly, and it wasn't doing anything. The front, however, decent, real decent. No complaints there. Alright, am I in a national? Oh no, I'm in a 30. Slow down, smart. It's the trouble around here. There's so many of these little country roads now, the 30s, 20s. Never thought I'd say this, but you know, even if you made it a 40. 40! Oh, no E125. Oh, I'd be over the moon with that. Speaking of which, I've got another 125 vid coming soon for the Sinus. In fact, that's probably been already. But I have some more 125s coming. Since you're asking for them, they're coming. Folks, if there's other bikes you'd like me to ride, then when you comment on the social media, if you can, tag that manufacturer in. For example, say it's a Triumph, then tag Triumph, official Triumph in. Or if it's KTM, tag them in, Suzuki, tag them in, Yamaha, etc, etc. It all helps, because if the manufacturers see that there is engagement and a demand with that person, like with me, then if I approach them and say, any chance I can take one of your bikes out, they can see that there's actually a demand for that. So it helps massively, it really does, when you like, when you share, when you comment, to all things like that, it really does help. And thankfully, you lot seem to do that. Spot on, thanking you. I've just done the podcast. This is a little bit off topic, I'm sorry. There's not much I can say about the Zero SRS yet, except that it's great. It's like riding a good motorbike. There's nothing in it that's made me go ooh so far at all, as there never has been with an electric bike. It's just, I'm perfectly happy with electric. I'm not one of these people anymore. I used to be, but I'm not one of these people who is like regales in horror at the thought of going electric now. They're great. I wouldn't go electric 100% myself yet, but when that time comes, and it will come, I'm not that bothered about it, to be honest. They're a lot of fun. And they're just getting better and better and better. Like each generation of the Zeros just gets better and better, and the Energicas, wow. It's funny because I've only tried Energica and Zero so far, and both manufacturers have their own unique characteristics. You know, I think Energica are better at the charging side of things. You know, their bikes will almost fully charge in 20 minutes, whereas this one I think is an hour if you have the turbo pack installed. Yeah, so far between Zero and SRS, I think the Zeros probably look better, but I enjoyed riding the Energica, the SS9. I actually enjoyed riding that more, I think, for some reason. And the charging, although the charge on that didn't last as long as this did, the bike is faster, more powerful, more torque, and it recharges quicker. This, believe it or not, I think this is an even better range. They claim 200 miles, not a chance. Normal riding, you're going to be looking at around about 90 miles, 80 miles in beast mode if you are caning it. Big motorway stretches, that sort of stuff. But normal hooning riding that we'd all do, you'd probably be looking at between, I would say, 90 and 110 miles to a charge. And then that'll take an hour to recharge it in full if you're using the high capacity chargers. This is AC, this is not DC. Anyway, very pleasant. So we're up to the 50s. Again, it just handles lovely. Feels very planted, very stable. Not sure how this would handle in like fast dynamic switches, changes of directions, but in this flowing smooth stuff, it's beautiful, really nice. I can't really think of anywhere around this neck of the woods where I could get fast dynamic sort of changes of direction. You're kind of limited by the sort of 90 odd mile range. Well, you're not limited by that. You will always find a charging station with that sort of range, but it's to be perfectly honest with you, with the logistics, I've got some videos that I've got to edit and get out for next week because I've got other things going on next week, which means my time riding today, rather than being a full day, I've sort of got half a day really that I can edit. Apologise, I honestly do. I will try and get this again another time and do a more extensive ride on it if you want that. Leave it in the comments if you would. If you're not that bothered, either don't bother leaving a comment or leave a comment and tell me you're not bothered. Awesome work, sir. 40 miles an hour in a 50. Thanks very much. Bloody BMW drivers. I'm sure this has got enough oomph, but I don't want to risk it yet. On into the 30. What's the bets that he carries on his speed? 38. Yep, one speed mimic. So, okay then, at slow speeds like this, trundling along 30 miles an hour, obviously there's no gears, there's no clutch, there's nothing like that to worry about. The bike, because of its weight and its low down weight, feels really stable. It is very easy to just trundle along at your 30 mile an hour speed on this. Even if you don't have a very good sense of balance, you should be fine on this. It just feels like it's just sucked to the road. It will literally just, it goes round a corner like it's on rails. Oh, awesome, awesome. Right, I shall turn you off till we dispatch of this. It may not be pretty. Now, it is really windy today, but I'm sitting at 50 miles an hour here, and I tell you, I'm getting a lot of wind about the helmet and across the top of my shoulders, which is not something I normally feel on too many bikes, to be honest. Either that camera mounting there has screwed up the aerodynamics, or the screen isn't doing a very good job. Oh, crest, can we jump it? Nah, not really. Oh, look! Nationals! Oh, it's instant. Instant. I love the whine these things give. Yeah, those sort of wider bends it loves. It just eats them. It's a very nice place to be on the big wide sweepers like that. Let's try and keep the national speeds going and get into the tighter stuff, see what it's like. Get by this car. Okay, right, let's try and keep the national speed up. Straight into a 40. Now the regen on this has that regeneration in it, which means, again, like the cars, if you come off the throttle, then the sort of kinetic energy that is put back into the bike, you know, your bike is still wanting to move forward, but it will slow down more depending on the level of regen you set. Again, like inline fours, they're very smooth with not much engine braking generally, as opposed to like your big V-twins that have got thumping engine braking on them. You come off the gas on a big V-twin and it's like you've hit the brake anyway, you know, boom, you slow right down. Well, you can vary the amount of regen on these electric bikes, and on this it's lovely. It's nice and smooth. Whatever the setting is that this one's on, it's nice. It's sufficient, you know. You don't really need to hit the brakes that much. You can just use the engine braking, the regen, to do it, and it's not snatchy or anything like that. It feels nice. So back in the nationals, let's try and keep some speed going around these bends. Let's see. Wow, that's really windy. A little bit of wallowing as you sort of come round the corner. You can feel I might need to stiffen up the rear shock. It feels like the back of the bike sort of wallows down like that, and as you come on the power, it sort of sinks and squeezes you through, so you just get that sort of feeling. I think that's probably just too soft a shock. Then again, I am, as we know, a fat lump. So 20 stone added to an already very heavy bike. The shock is having to do a lot of work there. But it's a lovely smooth ride. Really smooth. Now, I am going to be doing some more work with the IAM, believe it or not. Not just the Bike Safe. I haven't heard anything else from the Bike Safe chaps. But the IAM's been back in touch. Stuart Haythorne, who I did a couple of vids with a year or two ago, he's been back in touch and asked if I'd like to do some more stuff with him. So obviously I've said yes. Now, they're asking me what would I think is beneficial for you folks, for our wee community. Well, you tell me. Does any of you out there, if there's any elements of riding that you would like maybe a bit more explanation on, or you've heard some conflicting advice about, or things you're just not quite sure, or you would like to see an example of, you know, put us to the test, let me know in the comments or message me on any social media. Just let me know and we will do our best to cover that in a vid or two that I'm going to be doing with Stuart. Is this the right way? Oh, I thought it was down that way. Anyway, that is surprisingly smooth. That's a bumpy little section, that, coming off the roundabout. Felt really nice on the bike. Well, that's nice. Oh yeah. I wasn't going quick, but I tell you, it felt very, very stable in that corner there. What's it like hands off? How's it track? Lovely. Feels good. Very stable. Now, not that I'm going to be going anywhere near it, but the top speed of this is limited to 124 miles an hour, I believe. Obviously it would go far quicker, but they limit it to 124, and I think the sustained max speed, so if you want to get there and stick at it, is something like 110, something like that. But obviously your battery is going to diminish in front of your very eyes. Ooh, yeah, that does feel very wallopy in the sort of tighter stuff or at higher speed if there's a bump in the road. And here we are. I got a feeling this is going to be rammed actually. I didn't think of this, did I? This is the 4th of July, which effectively, though it's American Independence Day, because of the COVID pandemic and lockdown, this is the day in the UK where we are finally being released. The pubs are open, everything's almost sort of open for people. Not back to normal, but freedom has been regained, and obviously everybody is going to be out and about, aren't they? Good idea, Smart, well done. I did have aspirations of getting a drone out and flying, but A, it's very windy, and B, it's going to be rammed. So if it is absolutely rammed, I know a little dogging spot, I mean a little quiet car park somewhere else near the lake where we can go. Sync them up. Yeah, it's rammed, folks. Rammed. And you've got to pay a £5 to get in. This is like the 15th of auxiliary car park. My Scottish will is strong here. Got to pay £5 to take a couple of pictures. Look at that. I know it's in here. Okay. God, it's blooming full. Not quite as quiet as I thought it was going to be. I thought we'd get a little view of the lake as well. Bollocks. That's not going to happen, is it? Well, that is as close as we're going to get to the water, I'm afraid. I had this beautiful cinematic drone shots finish to the vid in mind. And A, the weather's pants, it's too windy to get the drone up. You're not allowed to fly the drone round here apparently. And I can't get anywhere near the water with the bike. This is as close as I could get. That is Beale water. That is somebody's back garden. What can I tell you about the SRS Zero? It is smoother, more refined than the previous ones I've ridden. It is beautifully balanced in the turn when you're riding it. Feels really good. The only issue I had was it felt a little bit wallowy in the tighter stuff under drive. When you put the power on, just as you're sort of into the corner and coming through, in the tighter stuff at speed, you could feel the back sort of wobble like that. Now let's have a look with that shock. You can adjust it with the spanners, but it's not an easily done thing, you know. You haven't got the twist shock. I can't remember what the technical term for it is, but the knob thing that you turn to stiffen or soften up your rear shock. If you are gravitationally blessed, such as myself, then I would advise you stiffen up the rear a little bit if you get one. It is a lovely bike. Rear brake, not worth pants. The front is beautiful, it's lovely. It copes very well with a big heavy bike like that. The ride is very smooth. I'd imagine even 2 up on this would feel not bad at all. You could do some touring on it, but again, your range will probably be reduced somewhat from that 90 to 110 miles. I would imagine that is going to get reduced. Maybe not significantly, but I would imagine it will be impacted by the extra weight. As you can see, it's got plenty of luggage space on it. Controls on the bike itself, everything to me felt really good. It has cruise control. Yes, cruise control. As you can see there's your cruise control. Now it's on the right hand thumb, which maybe it's because I'm left-handed, but that to me felt a little bit weird. I'm used to, I think just about every bike I've ever ridden that has cruise control has it on the left. This one has it on the right, and it just felt weird for me. All the other switch modes on it, you know, everything else is all over on your left hand side. Great. lights, everything, it's all there. The dash itself, like I said, that can be fully customizable through the Zero Next Gen app, and it is well worth having a look at that. You can change the colouring of the dash, you can change the orientation, like the setup, what is actually shown where in the dash itself, so you can customize that to your heart's content. Well worth having a play. Folks, I harp on about electric bikes time and time again. Plenty of you are critics, and I appreciate that. I was one myself, but you cannot have an informed opinion on these until you've ridden one. Chuck your leg over one. Contact the English Electric Motor Company if they're anywhere near you. The website will be in the description down below, and take one for a wee furl up the road and decide for yourself. It is coming. It is going to be the future. There's no escaping that. It is coming. And honestly, it is nothing to worry about. These vids, you either love them or you hate them with electrics, so if you've got this far, thank you very much. Folks, keep smashing that subscribe button if you've not done it already. Ding dong that bell so you get notified when the next vid's coming out. For all you current subscribers, thank you for sticking with me. For you Patreon folk over in the clan, I love each and every one of you. You and you and you and even you, madam, at the back. Folks, keep on doing your thing. Get on out there. You know what you're doing. Live your life. Woo-ha!